to check if Nick is actually giving me H100 and is not faking it is extremely hard problem to solve. And people have taken stab at it multiple times. They haven't been able to crack it. And that's where I think the meat was that if we can solve this problem, then we can scale.
Welcome to the DePIN State, sponsored by Gold Hawks. I am Nick Hawks, your host. On today's episode, we have Gaurav Sharma, the CTO over at IO.net. This episode is sponsored by Gold Hawks and Associates, the most experienced DePIN consultancy in the space. We help projects develop strategy, messaging, and token incentives. We'll have a little bit more on us later in the show. Before we get started, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, smash the bell, all of the great things that help us bring guests like Gaurav to you. Gaurav, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Nice to meet you, Nick.
I'm super excited to have you on board. I got a bunch of new technology here, so I'm all over the place. Let's see. So we'll talk about this kind of Internet of GPUs thing. I think that's super cool. But I wanted to start with a little bit of background on you. It sounds like you started off doing some engineering stuff. You're working at, originally it looks like HP and then Amazon, like big names, eBay, Agoda, culminating with finance. And it seems like from the outside, your job was getting better and better, like kind of cushier and cushier and cooler. And you're doing all this stuff, building scalable, resilient, fault tolerant, responsive systems, all of that. And then you decide to go and do a DePIN. So tell me what it was that you built and why you built it.
At the core, basically, I'm a tech guy. I'm a builder. So I started with when you were telling me all these companies, I was connecting dots in my head. That I basically started from startups and Linux kernel, file system, operating system long back. Then with HP R&D, they were building a new tech of distributed file system. I worked on that. Then post that, e-commerce was the next big thing, which was bringing the technology forward. Then I moved to Amazon. Similarly, eBay was the same road to the technology on the platform side. And then on the Asia side, there was a Booking Holdings group company, Agoda, which was doing great things and they were building great tech. I went there. And once we achieved all these things on the Web2 side, then I saw what the future is and what my next journey would be. And to be honest, Web3 was the very obvious choice. And what other places than Binance to learn and to contribute? So from there, I went to Binance. And then I was taking a step back and thinking, okay, where I could add the most value in the coming time. And personally, I felt all the problems which I've seen in past with AI coming into the reality and becoming a part of the daily life of the builders. I actually practically saw how the compute part plays a strategic role, how capturing data so that our models can be trained in an efficient way plays a critical role. And there is no big player who's doing things at grand scale and could solve problem for the builders. I saw that problem, and IO had this great leadership team who had a very unique way of solving the problem. So I met with them, liked the problem statement, liked the team which was there, jumped in, and from there I've never looked backwards.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. So the tagline makes it pretty obvious, this whole Internet of GPUs piece, pretty straightforward. You basically stitch all these GPUs around the world together in either single units or in clusters. I've got a couple of GPUs right behind me, 3 4070s. I've got enough problems stitching those together. I can't imagine how you guys do that around the world. But walk me through, let's see, on the supply side, like how does someone participate in this? How does someone get in and help deliver what you guys need?
That is one of the unique things in IO, and that's why we've been able to build a real business also on our side. And the secret sauce is tech. What I mean by that is, a lot of people know how to build tokenomics in the industry. They know how to use crypto. A lot of people, we also want to, they actually know how to build platforms. Some people want and know how to build businesses. But the amalgamation of all three is normally very hard. And when we were taking a stab at this GPU and AI space, one of the things we realized was that nobody has solved this problem at scale because they are executing on the business side as a centralized player. Meaning, whenever somebody creates a DePIN, they create a smart contract, they create a software layer, but the inventory itself, the GPU's part itself, they always own. And there is so much only you can scale as a business if you own the hardware. So like today, if you have $100 million worth of hardware and you're doing good business and somebody says, I want to give you a business of $100 million more, it's practically extremely hard for you to execute on that order, at least in the next 6 months. And that's what impedes your growth. And that's what we saw is a fundamental problem. Right? And then we took a step back and thought, okay, why nobody is making it in a way that it's scalable, right? That you don't own the inventory, you took it from the community, and the community could be data centers, normal players like me and you, or software companies who buy a lot of hardware, use it, build their models, and now the inventory just lies there wasted, right? Why is nobody taking inventory from them? Like Airbnbs has done for the rooms, these booking holdings and all have done it for the hotel. Why is nobody doing it? The reason was the tech part, which is if you as Nick tomorrow come to me and give your GPU to me and say, this is a H100 hardware, one of the costliest hardware, right? And you give me incentive for this. To check if Nick is actually giving me H100 and is not faking it is extremely hard problem to solve.
Okay.
And people have taken stab at it multiple times. They haven't been able to crack it. And that's where I think the meat was that if we can solve this problem, then we can scale as a business. So when we built the platform, one of the fundamental problems we focused on was this piece: how we can make sure that the hardware which people are giving, it's actually that hardware.
Oh, really? I thought that would have been much easier. Like you just give it some super hard problem and see how fast it solves it. But it sounds like that's not, it's not quite
You'll
that
be
easy.
surprised how this each step you find a challenge. Each step you find a challenge, a tech problem, and it needs a bit of thought process. It needs smart people to work on it. So honestly speaking, we took almost 6-7 months to build this tech in a stable way, and that's what enabled us to basically scale at whatever level we want to, because we can take the hardware from the community. We basically become decentralized in actuality, not just like having our own inventory, buying it, and building some software layers and smart contracts, and then saying we are even now. We wanted to actually be real to the ethos of Web3. And this tech helped us enable it. And once we did that, one more thing which we did in this journey was that because the problem statement was so unique, so interesting, and because nobody was able to solve it in the past, that we were able to capture and attract a lot of good talent. So we have basically PhDs from the Germany and US, and these guys have worked in companies like AWS in the past. They become part of the company. There's a couple of people from Google who became part of the company. From like I came from same Amazon, eBay, and Binance. I came in. So there are a lot of people from big companies, big names who have built a lot of platforms, which got attracted to this problem statement and came in. And once we solved this problem, then because these guys are smart, they're like these guys know how to build the businesses. Then that everything just kept flowing in. Like we feel,
They
okay,
get more
what
excited.
if you want to build this business? Okay, what's the problem? There's a problem. Go about it, solve it. Next.
Yeah.
I think that what helped us like make a platform, build a business, and grow the way we have grown in past year or so.
Yeah. Well, it's always for really talented people, you got to give them really, really hard problems and then just let them go.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I think I get that side of it. Although I got a couple more questions. Let's take a quick break first. We'll talk about today's sponsor, Goldhawks and Associates. We're a DePIN consultant firm helping projects with strategy, messaging, and token incentives. We run a blog for founders over at goldandhawks.com, produce the show, and most importantly, work with the core teams and communities of your favorite projects in the space to ensure tokenomics and incentives are fully aligned to build out some of the most badass physical infrastructure networks in the world. If your project needs help with any of these, check out goldandhawks.com. So, Gaurav, that's basically the side of it where someone like me says, hey, I'm going to plug in my GPUs and I'm going to earn tokens for basically renting them out. And you guys stitch this whole thing together. What's the other side of it look like? Usually with DePINs, it's pretty cheap. You don't have to worry about the infrastructure side. I think I saw on the site that it was $1.19 an hour for an H100. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that compares to like an H100 on HPC AI for, I think, 209. So it's about 56% of the price, which is kind of what we'd hopefully expect. Is that you're at least half as good?
But fair. You're directionally right. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So cool. So it's on that side, it's pretty easy to rent whatever it is you want. And I saw there was a bunch of 3070s on there, which I was surprised to see. But
so we have 4090s, which we have A100s, we have H100,
yeah.
recently added H200s, we have 3070s also, we have Macs also. Right?
Yeah. It was neat just to see.
Also. We have like the GPUs
everything
from like all the classes.
Yeah. Yeah. And at first I was like, why would they let, 3070s on there? And then I thought, well, they're not cheap things. And especially if you're going to rent it for, God, what was it, like 11 cents an hour? It was like some ridiculously low price. Like yeah, why wouldn't you use that for an hour? Use someone else's GPU rather than buying your own machine and building it. Because I know, this thing behind me certainly wasn't 30 cents to put together. So I can see how it's tempting for folks to say, okay, I'll use that. And then it looks like you guys have been building pretty quickly, and that has bled into how fast it takes to spin up a new cluster. I was reading it's about 1.5 minutes to spin up a new cluster, which is pretty incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you guys got that part done. Walk me through what your customers look like, or what you can tell us about who the folks are who are using the service.
It's a combination of both. We have enterprise customers also. We have a normal builders from colleges also.
Okay.
If I would be real to you, I think like majority of our revenue, like 95% plus, comes from the enterprises, because normally they come with the big ticket items, right? Like they'll rent for millions of worth of hardware. On the other hand, when the community person or college person comes in, they'll rent a hardware for an hour or so, couple of GPUs here and there, right? So we have the users on either side of the spectrum, normal users, college going grads, they're using it, and we have enterprise also. Just because the pattern and the amount of hardware which is consumed is much, much more heavier on the enterprise side. That's why our majority, the T&E comes from the enterprise side, but we have both the customers.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons what you were touching on, we have the hardware of all the types also is it's a marketplace. We have enterprise people who are building like big LLMs. They need H100s of the world, A100s, and so on and so forth. And we have college grads also who have their own hypotheses, the theories, and they want to create models on those hypotheses. And they don't have the money to, even if we give 70% discount on these big hardware, they still don't have money to buy that also. Right? For them, a 3070 or a 4090 make much more sense, right? And once the hypothesis has become concrete, it's real, then they go and upgrade them to A100, H100. So it's a marketplace. So we know that there are different kind of people, different kind of consumers. So that's why we have this inventory. We have Macs also for the same reason, that some people actually want to rent Macs. So
it's crazy. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, who would do that? But yeah, that's super cool. And then you got, was it 300? I think I was looking today, 327,000 verified GPUs.
That's correct.
And 139 countries. That's mostly, was there 190 in the world or something? So you got most of them.
Yeah, that's the power of the DePIN, right? And that's what helped us win also, because now as a business, one of the reasons we win, to be honest, also is that when we did the TGE, like God was great to us. We had a great TGE. There were a lot of people who came during that time, like almost all data centers who would be doing anything remotely to do with Web3, they were there in our airdrop. Now, as a part of that, what we did was, because we are people who have built businesses in the past, right? We know that for Uber's, the Booking Holdings, and all these companies or Airbnbs, their real value is not the platform now. Their real value is the relationship they have built. In case of Uber's with the taxi drivers and all, right? For Airbnbs and for Booking Holdings is the relationship with the house owners and the hotels. That's where the real value is. People can create a better platform than Airbnb or Uber today, but they can't beat them, because that
you can't beat the network.
Takes time. So what we were doing was that we were doing this TGE and all these big data centers, community people who were coming to give us hardware. We were hearing them, understanding their problem, building the relationships and all, right? And now we are at a place that you as a business, like it literally happened 1.5 months back, that somebody came to us and said, we need 1,500 4090s. And we said, okay, where do you want it? They said Canada. We're like, okay, we'll give it to you. You can have it. And then the ease with which we said yes, they were like, can you give us in Malaysia? And I was like, why didn't you ask this earlier? And they were like, oh, we had asked a couple of players in the market already. Nobody had it. So, and nobody had 1,500 GPUs in single data center. So we reached out to you. And with the ease with which you said yes in Canada, we just thought that let's try it in Malaysia also. And long and behold, we were able to cater to that customer in Malaysia also. The fundamental reason is we had this tech, we can scale, we have these connections to different part of the world. We know which data centers exist in different part of the world, what their uptimes is, how good a hardware they have, what networking and like how good networking they have. Those data centers. We have all this data captured right from the TGE time in the airdrop. So
and that was June of last year, I think.
Yes,
around there. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So pretty exciting. Get this net of GPUs. People can rent kind of as much or as little as they want, as big or as little as they want. You know, small Mac thing out to what is it? H200 is. I'm sure there's something fancier now, but I haven't kept up that much. Jesus, yeah, it gets crazy. So what's next for you guys? You guys must be doing some super exciting stuff. I know there's this co-staking coming down the pipe, and then you got the super cloud piece. Walk me through what we're going to see in the next, say, 2 to 6 months.
Sure. So for the DePIN part of that, so we basically wanted to build this decentralized super cloud from day one. But our vision was that when we are building this skyscraper, we wanted to build it by brick, and each should be adding actual value to the ecosystem. And we thought the best way to do it is create a DePIN first, which is the fundamental layer, give these GPUs for the cheapest price to the community, give the real value to the builders, and then build on top of it. So we did that, right? And the DePIN part we consider as a solved problem inside the company. Like we built the platform in 7-8 months, and in the last 4 months, when we were focusing on the business, the numbers, actual numbers, our T&E has increased like from less than $1 million to almost like 30 plus million ARR, right? Within a span of 4, which is exponential growth. And now the businesses from both Web3 and Web2 side are coming by themselves from word of mouth, because it's cheap hardware, it's a high uptime hardware. Their friends have used it and they have given a good word of mouth, right? So that problem is solved. Not now. What we're building is we're building other value-added services which will motivate people to stay on the platform also for longer, and we can build more product which makes the life of the builder more easy. For example, when we create a model as a builder today, like let's say I'm building a new LLM. When I build my own LLM, I test it against other popular LLMs in the market. That means I have to first of all do the research, which are the popular ones in the market. So in each of these models have different parameterized versions, right? Which is how much of a context they can
hold.
Learn. Then on which particular hardware it will perform well. Then is there a new update coming in? And there's so many combinations of these. Now, if let's say you have a company who's building their own LLM model and you have 20 engineers, more often than not, 25% of your company plus will be just focused on finding these, which is the latest model version. Like which particular parameterized version I should use, which will be the best hardware, test it out. And you spend like 25% of your strength of the company, which is not even your core problem.
Yeah, it's a huge waste. I can see it. Okay.
So we basically took care of this problem on our side, that we built a platform which is known as IO Intelligence. And the vision for this was that, again, we built in phases, but the vision of this platform is we had this billions worth of inventory sitting with us. So we took a portion of this inventory and gave this inventory free to the community, empowered with the most popular 40 models for now, and then it will become hundreds and hundreds of models in the next 2-3 months, like your DeepSeeks, all the variations of DeepSeeks, right? Your llamas, all the variations of llamas. And on H100, your 4090s, all the kind of hardware you have, right? For free. That you can
I saw that. Well, up to a point, right? Up to a point. Let's not give it all away.
Up to a point, and we charge, right? And honestly, we started this as a product for the community, and the performance of this hardware was seen by some Web3 and Web2 players, and they came and said, which is again became a business model we never thought of, that they said that we have a very unique data with us, which we don't want to share to the other world. Those companies said, so we want a separate instance of this product, just for us, where we can give data to these models, train these models, but it's only for us, right? And we are ready to pay. So that became this thing, right? Now, the second variation of this IO Intelligence is, this is again a product which is successful on our side. That's what, right? Now, the second phase of this project is that we will build a data marketplace on top of it. We will build an economy around it. Imagine today when Nick goes to a Web2 platform to create a model, you have to pay the money for the GPU right from time T0. Then if you need data to train your model, you pay for that also. If you deploy a model to scale to more number of GPUs, you pay for that also. And even if you do a good work, then you have to run around, find the right customers, sell it to them, and then you earn revenue. What we are building now is basically a platform with the power of tokenomics, wherein obviously we give you GPUs with this ecosystem for free for a certain usage. And if you do a good work, right, then, and this particular model is being used by numerous people, then we will give you incentive to build more on such platforms.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Imagine how many Web2 people who have to pay huge amount of sums of money from their pocket to experiment. They'll just come to Web3 world now and build out here.
It's
And
super
this
cool.
will create a flywheel where like the biggest Web2 builders, new college smartest people who right now don't have money, but from a year or 2 years, they'll be the biggest people in the industry, right? Because they are the upcoming talent, right? Right now,
Sure.
they may be crunched on money, but in future, they will be the builders. And the experienced people also. All these guys now will come to Web3 platforms, build on top of it because we are giving them and empowering them with these GPUs with for free to a certain limit, and then at an extremely cheap price compared to centralized players. And if they do a good job, then we deploy, scale it up, and do everything and give them incentive also. So this will create an own ecosystem and economy around it. And as a part of this platform, we are also building an enterprise platform as a part of IO Intelligence where people can create models, build, deploy, scale. We'll create a data marketplace also where, because we know that data is very, very important. Like people can come and give their data. And if the data is actually helpful, people are building on top of it, they get incentive. We have already started creating this platform, which we're talking about, plus our decentralized storage also. So the vision is at each block, make a real business, just not a product which nobody using, an actual product which is earning a revenue, right? Giving a value to the ecosystem and builders. And then in a year from now, be a super cloud where any product you think when you're building a decentralized AI, you have that on the platform.
You have everything
And
right there.
that will be the value added services where once a customer comes in, he never has to move out because anything and everything which he wants to build on, it's there on the platform.
You guys are building the everything store for GPUs. It's almost like you've done that before. Ripping. Gaurav, thanks so much for coming on and taking the time to explain it to us. I really appreciate you making the time. I know it's you're super pressed for it. So thank you for coming on. If people want to find out more, it's going to io.net, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ripping. Thanks, mate.
Thank you. A pleasure talking to you.